I'm going to go ahead and hit mute real quick, and we're going to get started. You guys are so quiet. All right. Now, is it a picture? Do you see a picture of me live or everybody while we're doing this right now? Can someone share real quick, unmute yourself and share, or I'll put it on the
Just
chat.
you.
Just me. Okay, thank you, Jen.
Unless
Right,
if you slide sideways, you can see different people.
Okay, good. All right, cool. All right, go ahead and mute, please, everybody, Nicole and everybody, and we're going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. I'm going to go pull up my notes because I want to make sure that we cover everything. And today we're going to be talking about how to enroll. For some of you, enrolling for the first time. For some of you, doubling your enrolling. Many of you should be tripling your enrollment or whatever your best is. But I'm going to go through some really key components of enrolling. And for those of you, maybe this is your very first time on a World Changer call. My wife and I have been in this incredible industry of moving people, duplicating, leading, creating movements, developing leaders, developing ourselves, and creating a wild lifestyle, freedom, and ups, and some ups, many downs. But it's been overall a biggest blessing of our life. And we feel like we're at a point in our life where we want to press in with our purpose of what God's called us to do and press in transforming lives. And that's why if you're here right now, we truly believe that if we can come together and you can become the best version of yourself in your business, it'll also help you become the best version of you as a purpose-driven leader. Because if you're in our industry, which I think all of you are a leader of a movement, whether it's small, big, medium, gigantic, or millions of people. Is very, very possible depending on what your goal is and purpose is of what you want to do for people. And a lot of that has to do with your people skills, your leadership skills, your discipline skills. And really think about this. If all this industry did was to help you illuminate, it's almost like this. I got this right here. If it put a big spotlight on you, sorry if that's bright, but if it put it, because what this industry does is it puts a spotlight on weaknesses, flaws, fears, and I call it junk in the trunk that you may not have ever known was there, right? There's so many the older, I don't know about you, but the older that I get, the older that some of us get, which is all of us getting older, the more that I realize I'm really not that good as I thought I was in my 20s. In my 20s, I was invincible. I'm the strongest. I'm the best. I'm the most amazing communicator in the world. I can recruit anybody, but I wasn't that good. And then in your 30s, you're like, okay, now I know I'm pretty good. I got this. Now that I'm in my 40s, and I'm sure it's going to be like this in my 50s and 60s, you realize, man, there's a lot of good people in this world that are a lot better at a lot of different things than you. And my point to that is that it's extremely important. We use the word coachable, but man, if you can peel back what that actually tastes like, what it smells like, it means outrageous humility of silly putty. Like, you got to be almost like so moldable. Now, of course, you want to be bold, confident, strong, of course. And being meek and humble doesn't mean you're not strong and bold. What it means is that you're always listening. You're always listening. Do I really understand what this person's communicating with me? Do I really understand how to enroll a human being into a home business? Because if it's not working for you, you have to realize there's a reason why, obviously, right? You're like, duh, right? Come on, Tom, give us the goods. But there's a reason why, and usually the reason isn't what you think. That's the blind spots. A lot of people think, well, if I just had a better presentation, it's important, but not as important as you think. If my company just did this, if my Facebook group just did this a little bit better, if this happened, right? All these different factors. Now, let's get right into the training now. I wanted to share that really quickly because I want you to be really open-minded if you're not enrolling at will. And let me just share with you what's normal, okay? For some of you, it's enrolling 2 amazing business partners per month is completely like a no-brainer. Every single one of you that hears this, if you can hear this right now, live or recorded, every single one of you should be enrolling 2 people a month, assuming you want to build a business and build a team, okay? 2 a month. And I'm gonna tell you this, if you're not enrolling 2 people per month, you've got to ask yourself a big question. You got to look yourself in the mirror. Don't beat yourself up too long, but go, if you're not enrolling 2 people a month, you got to ask yourself, why? Why? And you can either, hopefully it motivates you. Some of you, you need to get a little bit mad. Some of you, you will not move in life unless the fire's turned up a little bit and you're tushy. You know who you are. Some of you, that may not motivate you, and I get that as well. Your dreams, your goals, your purpose, your why might motivate you, but different things motivate different people. But I'm going to challenge you a little bit today to not just think about enrolling 2 people per month, because most of you, now I'm going to go to a smaller group of you, but it's still most of you. Most of you should be enrolling 2 people per month or per week. Because if you can enroll 2 people per month, there's not much difference in enrolling 2 people per week. And okay, and now I'm going to go to a small handful of you now. And if you can enroll 2 people per week, enrolling 1 to 2 people every single day, assuming you have at least an hour to 2 hours a day to work, can and should be over time, keyword, over time, become your new normal. Okay. Now listen, based on your company, based on your comp plan, you probably don't need to enroll 1 to 2 people a day. Because of duplication, if you get the duplication rolling, you probably only need to enroll 2 to 4 people a week, right? And if you can consistently enroll 2 people a week, it's one of the highest forms of duplication. Because if you can enroll 2 per month, per week, or per day, it doesn't matter. If you can enroll 2 consistently is the key. Then you can look someone in the eye like I'm going to do with you right now. Okay, you ready? Wake you up a little bit. Look at my big ugly eye. My big beautiful eye, right? God made us all beautiful in his image. So if I forgot what I was going to say. Oh my gosh, I had a brain fart going down that trail. So, oh yeah, if you can enroll 2 people, you can look people in the eye and tell them when they ask you the big question, what do I do? How does it work? I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. I've tried this and it's failed, this and that and this and that. You can look them in the eye and say the most duplicatable thing in the world. And when you say it like this, you have a better chance of them doing it. Not guaranteed, but a better chance. When you can look them in the eye with certainty, confidence, and it's not about being a shy or bold person, but when you can look them in the eye and say this, do what I do. Well, what do I do and how does it work? And where's the system? And how do I do back office? And what do I do for comp plan? And what, I don't know. You don't need to learn all that right now. I promise. All you have to do is learn to do what I did with you to get you started in this new business for your future. So basically just do what I do. And by the way, how did I get you started? Well, I met you on Facebook, right? We kind of became friends, right? And then I referred you to a Facebook group, right? And they're like, yeah. And then I tagged you to a couple videos, right? And they're like, yeah. And then I messaged you in with me and my upline, right? And they did a lot of the explaining of the questions back and forth via Messenger on Facebook, right? Like, yeah. And then, maybe we got on a Zoom, right? Just like what we're doing right now, right? And they're like, yeah. And then I answered your questions, right? Or my upline answered the questions, right? And they're like, yeah, that's what you do. You do the same thing. And oh, by the way, go to this getting started training and it will teach you how to invite the people, add, tag, message them, and follow up and enroll and follow up and enroll. And that's it. Now, is it that easy? No. Is everybody going to succeed? No. Are you going to succeed doing this? Yes. Is it going to be today? Maybe, but it will be. It just depends on how coachable you are and how willing you are to follow the system. And I always prep people on the ups and downs of the road bumps. Okay, let me get into the specifics of what I wanted to share with you today, but I wanted to share that from my heart. Good to see you, Barbara. All right, so number one, when it comes to enrolling at least 3 times more people, and I'm not going to go into depth on follow-up, but when you're enrolling someone, one of my favorite strategies to enroll someone is to follow up. Please, you're going to get the recording. So write it down in the recording if you can't do it now, but you want to follow up as much as you believe. Okay. Now, let me just give you that belief. I'm not going to go into a long belief speech right now. Kim does a much better job at that. But when you believe that this industry can transform their life personally, spiritually, leadership, growth, when you believe that you can financially transform this person's life, and when the number one way to believe this is get your own personal failure or success or fear or weakness or success out of the way. It's not about you if you're a millionaire, and it's not about you if you're broke and you've never made money in this industry. When you believe, I know that's hard, easier said than done. This is where you got to learn to not fake it until you make it. Do not fake it till you make it. That's BS. You want to faith until you make it, which means the way you faith it in this world, spiritually or business wise, and I'm not talking about spiritual faith here. I'm just talking about just genuine faith, meaning this: get your dang self out of the way. Because if I can succeed in this industry, or Barbara Bush, or Jamie Cornell, who's a great leader here, or Angela Warda, who's an amazing leader I see on here, or so many people, if they can do it, your new people can do it, whether you do it or not successfully yet. Get that? So it's not about you when you're recruiting based on how much you've made, what rank you're at, how much you've succeeded or not. You are simply a connector. Your job is to refer to the system and do your job to follow up as much as you believe in your dreams, your goals, and more importantly, what can happen to that human being, that mommy, that daddy, that woman, that single mom maybe, that needs you to do your job, which is don't make it about you too much. I can't even I wish I could spend 3,000 hours drilling that into your, programming that into your mind. But if you can get that one thing, you will have more boldness to be able to connect with people. Because again, if you're feeling like, well, the last 10 people didn't join me, what should I do? Or I got ghosted, or everybody's rejecting me, or no one's going to the group, but you got that one person and you're so worried about that they're going to think the same thing and they're not going to enroll. Or worse yet, you finally start enrolling people and not everybody does anything. Very few are doing any duplication or work. Why? Because that's the way it happens a lot, period. I enrolled about 20 people in the last few months. And right now, there's many amazing people that are doing a little bit, but I can think of one that did over $100 and some thousand of volume, or 60 days in the business, right? Blowing it out of the water. Do I worry about the 20 others that are doing nothing or just shopping or buying products, or maybe a couple $100 in volume, a couple thousand? No, because I know what to expect after 25 years. I know even Tom Challen doesn't have the most guaranteed, perfect, duplicatable system in the history of mankind. Why? Because it doesn't exist. All I could do and all you can do is the best. All right, so follow up as much as you believe in their dreams, your purpose, your goals, and also how much do you believe in your company and or your product. And then when it comes to follow-up, because here's why follow-up is a part of closing, because people, the best people that you will not enroll with you. They will not enroll with you until they know you're strong enough to continually follow up. And if you're strong enough to continually press, even when you feel like you may be bugging them, which you're not, by the way, that's just a myth. Even when you feel like you're being a little extra persistent, you're not. They need you to be most of the time, right? When you feel like, oh my gosh, it's been a year and you're still following up, that's when you get the big fish, the big leader. That's when you get the person that's like, I give up. I just lost my job. You've been calling me for a year, sending me cards for a year, sending me email or text or whatever you do, loving on this person for a year. So here's what else I put. You follow up. To make it real simple, you follow up. Are you ready for this, Kim? Shirley, Jen, Christine, Tammy from Alaska, you follow up for, anybody want to finish the sentence? How much do you follow up? Forever. You follow up forever. So I don't know, I hear a lot of big leaders that if they like there's a lot of 7-figure earners that teach this, and it's okay because it's their opinion and style of what's worked for them to 7 figures. For my style, and it's just a style, okay? Because there's many ways to skin a cat when it comes to follow-up. There are some big hitters, leaders, 7-figure earners even that I know, friends of mine. In fact, a few are on my team that have this philosophy where they give someone a chance, they find out if they're open or not. If they don't get a good response back, they're done, move on, and go to the next person. I am not like that. I want to build a database of hundreds of thousands of people that ghosted me, told me not now, told me no, told me not really interested, told me I'm already in a home business, told me the timing's bad, because I know if I follow up forever, the timing of more people will be right. And then here's the other thing. I was really thinking about this a lot this morning as I was preparing this. I want to not only follow up forever, I want to love them forever. Right? And some of you may go, okay, come on, no mushy crap here, Tom. Think about it. I mean, again, this is whether you're a Christian or not, it is in our nature that we are called to love. We are, whether you believe that or not, we are called to love. We're called to love our pain in the butt neighbor, which means we definitely have to love our spouse. We definitely have to love our kids. We definitely have to love the pain in the butt coworkers or the pain in the butt people. So if you get that in your mind and you learn truly what look up the word agape when it comes to love. Look up the word love. I mean, whether you're a Christian or not, go in the Bible and look up Corinthians, and maybe someone can tell me the scripture, Kim or someone. What's the scripture in Corinthians? Is it Corinthians 14? Love is patient, love is, just go study a little bit of love, biblical or non-biblical, Google it and look up agape love. Because some of you are like, come on, get to the steps of closing. I close a huge amount of people at a high ratio because I genuinely, deeply care about human beings. Now, if you're a real pain in the butt and I'm trying to prospect you, I will love you, but I will put you on a lower, like I'll rate you as a 3, not as a human being rate you, but for my business and time, I will rate you low, okay? This doesn't mean I won't love them, but I want to love on people that I definitely want to partner with and work with. And there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people in this world that fit that demographic, that want to win in life, and you want to love on them and bring them into your business. So, all right, let me move on to step number 2 in enrolling people. I've been meaning to talk about this for a very long time. It is not talked about much in network marketing anymore. Okay, if you are using any person as a third-party validator, okay, let me give you an example. If you add someone to a Facebook group, you tag them to a message, a presentation, let's say a video, and then third step is you message them, ATM. You message them in a 3-way chat on Facebook, let's say, or a 3-way chat anywhere, on your phone, anywhere, okay? Or you get on a Zoom with them, like what we're doing right now, and you're bringing in your upline or another person to help partner with you to answer questions directly for your new prospect, okay? Back in the day, we used to call it a 3-way call, and people still do it, by the way. Still works, obviously. It's not my favorite way I don't normally like to do 3-way calls, but that's another topic. So if you're bringing in someone for a third-party validation on a call or on a Zoom, and you've asked an expert or a leader or someone else, an upline, to come onto there to help you enroll that new person, you always want to edify that person. Let me give you an example. Let me see someone here. I got Miss Smiley Barbara Bush, who's shining out in the light right now. So if I'm bringing, if I'm trying to enroll Barbara, okay, and I have Kim Challen coming in as my partner that's going to help me be the authority or other person. It doesn't even have to be an authority, but let's just say she's my upline. In the case that I'm in right now, she's my upline. So I'm bringing in Kim Challen as my upline to be a third-party person to help me enroll that person. I want to say, hey, Barbara, hey, real quick, thank you for taking the time to be here. I brought Kim in because she is one of the top leaders in the company. She's super sweet. and she's a lot smarter than me when it comes to understanding this thing and the questions, right? Humble, right? And edify her, the person, even if it's a friend of yours, at the same level as you. Just edify them, no matter who it is. And that what that does, edification builds the value to your prospect to listen to your person that you're bringing in. It's extremely important. And trust me, this took me 10 years to get into my thick head. I stunk at edifying and lifting human beings up in this situation. And number two is way more important. Number two, when you're bringing in a third party for a call, a Zoom, or even a meeting one-on-one, and I catch this a lot with many people since I've been building again. Okay, you ready? Do not, when you edify them and you introduce, and you also edify your prospect. Hey, I want to introduce you to Barbara. Barbara and her husband are like super athletes over 35. They're amazing. They're entrepreneurial. They're a power couple. And I wanted you to meet Barbara, Kim. So I edify the prospect and I edify the person I'm bringing in. Okay, number two, once you've done that, then here's what your job is to do. And I'm just going to say it directly for time. Okay, you get duct tape. Just visualize imaginary duct tape, invisible duct tape, and you put it over your face and you do not talk. Okay, your job is done. If you're bringing in someone else, it's not your job to play back and forth ping pong with your upline leader. That's not the way this works at the most effective level. Your job is to preferably say nothing or extremely little, unless the third party person, Kim, in this example, says, well, Kim, if Kim says, hey, Tom, or she wants to have me, interject, then she'll ask me, or if the prospect obviously asks me a quick direct question to me instead of my upline or leader, then obviously that's a different situation. But your job is to say very little and reflect it back to the person that you edified, because without going into all the psychology why, it de-edifies them. And you're bringing on this person for a reason. There's no reason for you guys to tag team and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that'll tie into the next point that I'm going to be coming up here in point number 4. But we're on point number 3 now. Let's move on. Okay. And when you're on a Zoom or a call with your spouse, and this is something that I've been noticing that I've been doing with Kim lately, and I've got to get better at this. Okay. So like I've noticed when you're on when more of like a partner or a friend, and it's just kind of more of a casual conversation with maybe a prospect or someone you're trying to enroll, where you're it's not necessarily a third party validation. And this is kind of a new territory for Kim and I, because we're both sometimes we jump on the calls together mutually. There's not one person that's better or one person that's a bigger leader or more money. It's not about that. When it's a spouse like me and Kim kind of tag teaming, helping a prospect get started, what I notice that we do sometimes, because it's so natural for Kim and I, and of course we do this in training, our job is to ping off of training. But when we're trying to recruit, it's better to let one person lead a little bit. And let me give you an example. So, and this may not be applicable for everybody, but this is really important to understand. So when a prospect asks a question, I answer it. Let's say Kim answers it. Like, how do I make money? And Kim does a great job answering it. But in my mind, I'm sitting there because I have time to think about, well, gosh, Kim didn't say this. And she should have said this about how to get paid. And she should have said this, this, and this. And oh, I got a good story about this. And I'm just sitting there because I got time now to think. And Kim's under pressure because she's answering. So she doesn't have time to think. She's just performing and speaking. And then as soon as she's done saying her point about how to get paid, I notice that I come in because I think I got another point that might be just as good or better. And then here, Kim and I are sometimes going back and forth, kind of over, we're basically talking. And what I'm realizing is we're not letting the prospect digest Kim's answer to the question. Because if the prospect isn't doing a lot of the talking or some of the talking in that situation, you're sucking the oxygen out of the room for them. You're sucking their oxygen away from them. because if they're not talking, they're getting bored. They're starting to think about, well, this is one of those things, or how much does this cost? Because they need to be talking, because when they're talking, they're building momentum. And when they're talking, and if they have to listen back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to you, and back and forth, it also takes down the conversation. All right, I can spend hours on that one, but I got to move on to number 4 for time's sake. And by the way, I will have time for a few questions here in a few minutes. Okay, so please get ready. All right, and I already talked about this a little bit. You do not want to suck the oxygen out of your prospect's lungs. And I said that on purpose, that direct, because I really want you to understand that that's what you're doing if you're doing what I'm about to share right now. I'm going to repeat this again because we're wrapping up. You do not want to suck the oxygen out of your prospect's lungs. How do you suck the oxygen out of their lungs? You speak about your life too much. You answer questions too much, too detailed. And you're talking over them. Like, they can feel, and I do this, it's so hard. They can feel when you're just ready to jump on it, right? They can feel when you're just about to, when you're not listening, because you already got the answer, and you may already have the answer as they're telling their long prospecting. The prospect's going through a long story, and I'm so impatient. But if I talk over them, I'm diminishing their value, and I'm not listening to them fully. So I want them to finish, and then I don't want to talk over them. But the big one I want to share with you here is this. If you are not enrolling a lot of people, you are most likely sucking the oxygen out of their mind, out of their heart, out of their lungs, because you're over talking. Okay, especially if you're on a Zoom with them or call. It's imperative to learn to close with questions instead of close with answers. Over talking, over informing is the most logical way that everybody that's new does this business. The wrong way. We are not professional car salesmen or even real estate agent. Even real estate agents don't. Unprofessional. Basically, it's the difference between being an unprofessional communicator or salesperson, whatever you call it, or a strategic enroller. There's a big difference. And that's, it's really important if you're not enrolling a lot of people to learn to be a lot more strategic with your questions. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps. I'd like to go deeper if anybody wants to, or we can wrap up very quickly. So if you want to unmute right now, and please do this, say your first name and what your one question is at a time, please.
Hi, Tom.
Hey there.
I'm just curious with the 3-way calls. I haven't done any yet, but how do you schedule that? That's the thing I'm missing with your
with
upline.
The prospect. So
with your upline.
Okay, so first off, I only do a 3-way call only, well, not all, almost only 99% of the time, if they've already gone through, for us, it would be a Facebook group, right? Or some kind of video or presentation already. So they already understand what this is about a little bit. Okay, they've already been a part of the community. They checked it out. They've seen a little bit about the product online a little bit. That's number one. Number two, and this is such a beautiful step, I always schedule a group chat on Facebook. That's kind of like a 3-way chat group on Facebook. That's number two. And the third point would be a 3-way Zoom or it could be a 5-way Zoom, by the way. There could be 5 prospects on there, but a multiple Zoom. And listen, let me share something about duplication. The 3-way call or Zoom is not necessary for duplication in our industry. I've been interviewing this week multiple 7-figure earners, and I said, do you need a 3-way or a group Zoom? Is it good for part of the simple duplicatable recruiting process? And the answer is no. I want to share that really quick. I've been meaning to do that. So this is a little bit extra training. I want to share real quick, Tammy, if it's okay.
Yep.
if you do a three-way call or a three-way Zoom or a group Zoom to help close a new prospect, it's extremely good for a short-term higher ratio of closing. Because there's no question, if I was on your Zoom for your new prospect or someone like Amy White, or there's no question the enrollment process would be way higher. But what I've noticed in 25 years is when you recruit that person, they're going to expect that three-way call or that three-way Zoom or that multiple group Zoom. And then it's no problem for a while. They could probably plug into the leader's Zoom too. But then it gets to the third level and fourth level and 10th level. And then everybody through those levels, those hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that got in because of those Zooms, it becomes part of your process for life if it's the only way you enroll. With that said, I do it. I love it. There's people on my team that are thriving with it, but I want to make it really clear. It's good. I use it. I love it. Hang on, I hear someone rattling around. Make sure y'all are muted. Hang on one second. Let me see what it is. I can see you. Okay, here we go. I got it. All right. So just know that. So again, I'm not saying it doesn't work, and because I love it, I use it. We encourage it. We teach it. There's people on our team that teach it. But I do want you to understand, if you do it as your like staple, it's not necessary for long-term duplication. In fact, I was talking to a woman, a friend of mine, Michelle Barnes. I'll just say it. I got an audio of her back. I said, "Do you use Zoom, group Zooms, for a tipping point for enrolling?" She's like, "No, because then I'll be stuck to Zooms for the rest of my career, and I want to have more leverage, even though it does create a higher closing ratio." Okay. So anyways, I just want to say that. But Tammy, I forgot your question. What was your question?
So I'm stuck in I've been having no problem enrolling, but there's a handful of people that they don't know me personally. They can't see my vision. But how do I set up with my upline that appointment for that three-way?
Good question. Okay, so here's what you do. So you preferably have them see the vision from a video a little bit, the community, three-way chat them with your upline. And maybe they ask a few questions in the chat like, "Hey, where is the product from, or how does it work?" A couple of simple questions. And then what I do is, once they start asking a few questions, if I do have an upline, I might message my upline. And it doesn't have to be an upline. I actually prefer using someone that just joined my business, or I prefer using someone that might be like-minded to them. So I'm not always using the upline. And I'll just find a friend. Like if you have a friend in your company too sometimes. So I'll use an upline, a friend, anybody. Okay. And then I'll ask them, I'll say, "Hey," and I'll usually have, when I used to do this, and I don't do this I don't do three-way calls as much anymore. But when I used to do this, I would have a lineup of 5, 10, sometimes more people that I can message and ask them if they can partner with me or jump on a quick Zoom with me and help me. And then sometimes I'll jump on theirs for them, kind of like I'll be the third party person that switches it back to them. So I will just message them, and then you got to schedule the calls together. What I normally like to do is, in that three-way chat with my upline in Messenger or text, I'll just say, "Hey, Mrs. Upline or Mr. Upline, I've got Mary here. Are you available? I'm trying to coordinate times for a Zoom." And then just like scheduling a meeting, you just got to coordinate those times.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a girl in an amazing leader named Courtney Nine who's doing this very effectively. I think she rippled it through our company right now, and she does groups. So she'll just do a few Zooms throughout the day with multiple leaders. Multiple prospects on there, and then she'll answer all those questions individually. So it's almost like it's a one-on-one, but she's so busy, it's hard to do one-on-ones answering questions. Yeah. So she just puts 5 people on one Zoom, and that works very effectively for her. And a lot of people are doing that effectively, even Kim and I, in some situations.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom. Angelina here.
Angelina here.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, I have a question. I've been having success recruiting. I think it's just, I believe, in the company where I'm at, and it's just been very wonderful. I have this handful of people who are, "Yes, girl, I'm hopping in. Just give me time." But I, for follow up with them, I feel that, I usually do a voice, let's get on the phone. what's holding you up? Because I feel like, of course, when people say they're going to jump in and they don't, there's a fear, there's something that's holding them back. So how do you address that? I feel like I have like 10 people who are just like, I'm there, I'm with you, but I don't, you can tell something's holding them back and I don't know how to connect with them. I have offered doing the phone calls. Let's get together. Let's figure this out. What would you do? What is your,
Okay, I'm going to give you my favorite answer for this question, but I'm going to ask you a question. How many people ideally would you like to enroll on a weekly basis?
oh, I would love to enroll at least 5 to 10.
Okay, let's just say 5 to start. Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean, 10 is, yeah, that's like a huge goal of mine, but
Okay.
5, yes.
How many people, you said you have 10 people in your pipeline that are kind of on the fence and kind of hemming and hawing, right?
Yep.
Okay. So how many people have you noticed does it take you to enroll at least one? How many people in your pipeline that are on the tipping point
Mm-hmm.
that are really hot prospects, but they haven't joined you yet?
Mm-hmm.
Does it take to enroll one per week, let's say?
How many reach outs? Or
Not
like,
reach outs. No. How many people have you sent to the Facebook group? You're following up with them. They've watched the videos, but they're at the tipping point of saying yes, but they haven't said yes yet. For how many of them, people that are at the tipping point,
mm-hmm.
do you think that it takes to enroll one? Do you know those numbers by any chance?
I don't. I mean, I have got a notebook full.
Okay, so check this out.
Okay.
So here's what I know. Everybody has what I call a hot list, a hot number, which means for you, Angela, I always remember, and this is my old numbers, but I remember if I want to enroll one person per day, I know that I have to have 20 that I've already put through the system, 20
Yep.
that I have to have 20 that I already followed up with, that already are very interested, that already, they like me, I like them, 20. And I knew if I followed up with those 20 in the day, now obviously I wouldn't get a hold of them all, but I
Right.
knew they were on the verge of saying yes, then I would enroll one. So my expectations became extremely realistic for my confidence, my urgency, my skill, my follow-up skills, how much I loved on them and really got to know them. I knew back in the day it was 20 to 1. Now, it didn't mean that the 19 wouldn't enroll me, because I would follow up with the 19 the next day. And then I would have some tell me no or not now or ghost me. And then I'm always just filling up that 20 pipeline. So your number of enrolling consistently, and let's just say one person per week or per day, it might be 11. So you might be following up with 10 people as an average, but no matter what you do, no matter how good you are, no matter how creative you get at your words, and I'm not saying I could teach you some things to get better at your words too, but just know that your numbers might not be at the tipping point to be enrolling like it's almost, I hate to use this word, but I've come to love this word in network marketing. And I'm one of the few recruiters in this industry that can almost guarantee that I know for sure I can join any one of your companies and enroll 1 to 2 people a day when I'm in this zone of getting my numbers high enough, my follow-up high enough, my prospecting daily high enough to be able to enroll consistently. For me, it was, again, 1 to 2 a day, every single day, for like clockwork for years. So that's the first thing I will say, is get your numbers to the tipping point to where, and then here's the second part of this. When you don't need any one person, you know that you're just enrolling 2 to 4 a week or 5 a week or 10 a week or whatever your number is. And you got more people in the day to get back to than you have enough time in the day to get back to them. Your urgency will naturally become higher. Your confidence will become higher. Your posture will become off the chart. Why? Because you don't need anyone. And when you get to that point, you can speak to them with love, because speaking firmly is love. Hey girl, what's going on? This thing is, and I'm a little hypey because it's not hype, it's excitement. And people are afraid to be excited because they don't want to become weird or hypey. I'm just telling you that's BS. Now, some of you could be a little hypey and weird. So you got to have discernment there. It's hard, But for me, I know this one guy that I'm enrolling. I'm like, dude, we just doubled again. This thing's blowing up. Our group, did you see the face? Oh my. So I am being a little bit excited because it's life producing. It's proof of concept. It's a little bit pitchy sounding, but I'm a little bit excited and urgent. This thing's moving. You don't want to miss this thing. Hey, what's going on? Just if it's not for you, it's okay. But is there something I can help you with? Is there a question that you have? Hey, I want to share something new with you. Okay, I'm giving you a lot of little ingredients all at once.
No,
like,
all good nuggets. All good nuggets.
So I say something like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want you to meet Kim. Have you met my wife, Kim, or have you met Angelina? And Angelina, you've never gotten me on a Zoom yet.
I know.
Why?
Well,
I don't want to. You all can't get me on a Zoom. But Angelina, you've been around a while. You're like a sister. You're becoming like a sister to Kim and I. It's like, I'm not saying all of you can use me for a Zoom or Kim, but ask. I mean, I'm not saying
I know
ask
you guys
Lisa
are so
Amy.
busy.
You know what? That's a perception.
True.
You're putting your thoughts into my head, which may not be true.
Right.
Everybody thinks I'm busy. Can I just tell you a secret? I'm going to get myself in so much trouble for this. Every time someone says, oh, I don't want to bug you, you're so busy, I'm thinking in my head, no, I want to take my time with you. I like you. I want to work with you. I'll spend an extra 5 minutes with you, but you don't know it because you're rushing me because you think I'm busy in your head. Now, it's good to honor people and not take too much of their time, and it's good to respect their time, but it's also good to be a little bit persistent, even if they may not want you to. I may not want you. I'll just be really transparent. There may be times where I don't have the time. There may be times where I don't want to do a three-way for you because I know if I open up that can of worms, everybody's going to be doing it all day long again, right? But you never know. Don't worry. And if I say no or I can't right now, ask Kim or ask Crossline, Cynthia. I mean, maybe you guys can tag team, you and Cynthia. She's a rock star. Maybe you and Julie, maybe you and Ruth or someone else in your company, whoever's in your company. Create like a support system. And I would recommend for three-ways and chats, Zooms, I don't like always using upline.
Yeah.
Using a partner, a friend that you met at convention or in a trip is almost just as valuable, almost.
Yeah, I am not bringing in the amount of people. I have to find my system yet. I get that. I had all that junk in my head, but now I feel like I'm there.
Yay.
I just need to do the work and keep consistent. And I see that. I just am like, yeah, the follow-ups, and I am excited. I'm like, girl, you said you're joining me. You said, yes, queen, I'm hopping in. What's the holdup, honey? Do you need to talk? Let's talk. So I am putting my personal, because I do, I want them to come into what I'm doing because I feel it and I believe it. And it's the first time I've ever done that. So it is easy to talk openly about it. It's just, it's fear for so many people. It's those darn little voices in their head that's being like, ooh, I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not. And I think that once we figure out what is holding them back and we can help them to get through that, boom, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, thank you, Tom. Good. That was very helpful.
You bet. Let's do one or two more, Max, and we'll wrap up today, everybody. Hey, by the way, Courtney. Yes. Go, Courtney. You're distracting me because I want to work out with you. Where do you live?
I live in Wisconsin.
Awesome. I love your gym.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we just put it up when all this quarantine stuff happened. So
hey, I'm from Wisconsin.
Yay!
Hey, this is a social hour. I'm just kidding.
So kind of going off of Angelina's follow-up question, as well as your comment about not taking their breath away. I call it word vomit.
Yeah.
I tend to have word vomit, and I never know if I'm following up too fast. Like how long do you wait and have like no response until you jump back in and say something? Or those people that said they're interested and then they still haven't signed up, like how much time do you usually give them? I don't want to feel pushy.
I'm going to give you a really quick 25-year case study, just really direct to the point. Is this 95% of the time, the people that tell me what you just said are not following up fast enough.
Okay.
So don't overthink it, to be honest. I don't know, I have a discernment that you're discerning, meaning
Yeah.
don't let that's fear usually. If you eliminated the fear, you just say, an hour later, 2 hours later, it's like, hey, did you watch the video? And here's the cool thing about follow-up. If it's too soon or if you really have time to think about it, that means most likely your pipeline needs to be bigger. Because when your pipeline's big enough with enough people, and you have more people in your pipeline than you can even get back to, you won't have time to go back to them fast enough. You'll be too busy, too postured. You'll be able to say, you know what? I literally, guys, listen to this. I literally when I'm in a flow, I can enroll 10 to 20 people a day. Now, I don't have enough time physically or emotionally or energy to do that. But I know mathematically, I can. Not now. I'm not nowhere near that pipeline yet. But I know when Kim and I get in that flow of our contact manager working and automation and some leverage we have, I know I can enroll an unlimited amount of people practically. So when you get to that stage, you can almost just, you know what, I'm going to follow up with Mary first, or Courtney, because she's already competitive. She's got a built-in work ethic. She's a disciplined person. She's sharp. She's a great listener already. I'm going to recruit her first. So I actually pick and choose every day who I want to cherry pick in my database of who I'm following up with. So the key is get to a point where you have so many people to follow up with, you don't have time to think about how fast you can get back to them. Your goal is just to get back to the most high quality people that you want to connect with the fastest, and don't overthink how fast it is. And here's the cool thing. If you're following up too fast, the best person to really know if you're following up too, I actually got to the point where I was so stumped at how bad I was at recruiting, I couldn't figure it out. I went to all the training, I was just, what's in my stupid thick head? I'm speaking to myself, my thick head, why am I not enrolling? I started asking my prospect. I would be like, is that Journey? Hi, Journey. I would be like, Journey, I know you said no, can you do me a favor? Why didn't you get started with me? Did I do something weird? Or can you please help me? I'm trying to get better at my business. Can you help me? And I got so much feedback when I was so humble. It was crazy. Do you feel like I followed up with you too aggressively? And almost no one ever said yes. So anyways, I'm not saying to do that, but that's just an idea that I used to do back in the day because I was such a dork. I'm like, why do I stink so bad at this? But that's what you want to do. Courtney, I would bet that you need to follow up more persistently.
Okay. Yeah, I always feel like I'm just, jumping at it too fast. And like you said, in your head, especially when I've done so many things like this, and it just feels like nothing ever goes anywhere. And it's definitely old demons kind of hanging in there, you know?
Yeah, that's all it is. And the more you speak, the more I can see you trying to drag that in your past.
Yeah.
I mean, your future. You got to cut that and move forward. Like Lisa Van Horn, she's my favorite example because she's a really good friend of ours. And you all heard the story by now. 10 years of dealing with the demons and fear and shoulders like this and prospecting poorly. And it's not working, Tom. And I need a better. And then all of a sudden, bam, beast mode. It's a mindset. I promise you, it's a mindset. And the one thing that's so interesting about Courtney, I want y'all to look at Courtney right now. Courtney, every single day she works out is seeking pain for her purpose of a physique like she has, I don't know if it's CrossFit, but you look like a CrossFit kind of, powerlifting a little bit.
I'm a figure competitor.
Oh my gosh, I knew some kind of fitness. So to have a physique, you need to embrace pain of muscles tearing and being consistent. Most of you, when it comes to follow-up, recruiting, prospecting, building from home, you need to develop that consistency and start with an hour and master it, then get to 2 if you have enough time to do 2 or 3 or whatever your numbers. But you gotta get consistent with that. All right, is there one more?
Thank you, Tom.
You bet. Uno mas, that's it. How do we get so many beautiful people on here? Where's the dudes? Is there any dudes here? Women dominate this industry. Danny, I see a dude in there. Good to see you, Danny. Anybody else?
Hey, Tom, it's Christine.
Hey, Christine.
I do have a question for you. Since you mentioned the dudes, what is your number one advice for helping your spouse catch the vision of what you're doing?
Well, can I tell you how my wife, I told my wife that she could not do her network marketing business that she's in right now. I told her, unless you can produce 3,000 a day right now to cover our minimum base overhead and our employees, our staff, our taxes, our expenses, our business expense, there's just no way, Kim. I mean, it wasn't that I was an unsupportive spouse. I was a realistic spouse going, honey, you run our company. You're the backbone of the logistics and operations and communication. No, I said, no, there's no way. But she just looked me in the eye and she said, give me, I know I'm called to do this. I need something new to do, Tom. I'm supposed to do this. I know I'm called to do this. Let me do this thing. And I'm like, I was still inside saying no, but what can I say? She was looking at me with those puppy eyes and I'm like, go, then do it, but make it happen. And she did. So the best thing the number one thing that's not easy is just have that talk with your spouse. And then the key is the way it was so much, what Kim just did it. She just went for it. And she went for it so much that I became aboard because she was all in, like her heart, her soul, her time, her energy, her commit. She went all in and she was getting results. So that was what made it easy for me. So much so that I pruned back all my other coaching projects. No more consulting, no more one-on-one coaching, very, 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 very little one-on-one coaching, unless super rock stars like Jamie, come into my life. But I don't do very much coaching anymore, or I don't want coaching that much right now, at least, because I'm working with her. She's my boss. No, she's my upline. She's amazing. And I'm so basically go crush it, Christina, and create such a simple duplicatable process that I know you're completely capable of crushing, and just start leading by example with your spouse. And another thing that my mentor used to say, who is a female, her name's Danny, a female named Danny. And this is something so important for men, women, hear this. If your spouse is negative and a jerk, which we can be, we could be high maintenance jerks, okay? We have a lot of testosterone, some of us, and we could be grumpy and grouchy and unsupportive. We can be. Doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Just means he's got a lot of pressure and stress and maybe he needs to work on himself for sure. No question. But the best thing you could do to your spouse is love them. We're called to love them through their pain in the butts. Love them also. And here's what my mentor used to say, treat him like a rock star. Meaning when he doesn't deserve it, love him. Like because a lot of times men don't want you to take the time away because of financial reasons, or they don't want to feel left out, or they want to feel special too. So make them feel really special so they will be more softened for you to go do your dream, especially if they're more the household, the leader, so that kind of thing, which a lot of times they are. You just gotta kill them with love, and not kill them with love, but love them. I know it sounds really hard sometimes, but love them through their challenges of you wanting to do the business or bitterness. And the more that you start to produce and the more you start to become someone that they don't recognize, like my wife has become someone I almost don't even know. I'm just like, are you my wife? It's crazy. Like, cause she's never led like this. And I see her leading by example and changing and growing and fighting. And anyways, so that's what I would recommend. And so much more.
For the record, my spouse is not antagonistic at all, and he's very supportive. I would just love to see him doing it with me, and he's extremely supportive and of me doing it, but that's my thing. So I was just wondering, is there any little something
Yes.
to get them to want to do it with you? Because like I said, he's very supportive and he's like, totally do your thing, but I want him to do it with me.
Okay, I got another side. Thank you for clarifying that. I should have asked better questions. Do you guys see how that works? I just assumed too much. I should have gathered more info. I'm trying to rush it for time, and I didn't process well enough as a coach. But that's exactly what I did wrong. Like if I was recruiting Christina, I thought I got the info and I spit it out with my own thoughts too much. And I went too long with that. Did you guys catch that? Based on what she needed. I didn't fill what she needed. Anyways, so hopefully it's here, Christine. Give them one job to do. It may not be being a power recruiter, ATMing, but like with Kim for years, she was a full-time mom with 4 babies under 4. She didn't have time to do the business at all. So all I got her to do in the beginning was retrieve my messages. And she would just do one task. She would love on the team once they enrolled. So she didn't do the whole network marketing, whole cycle like you might do, but she can help, or he can help leverage a piece of the business that he may be, or she, your spouse may be good at, like sending cards, like following up and texting everybody, hey, were you able to jump on the getting started training? Did you finish it yet? So they can do some piece of a puzzle, because there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle of duplication. Give him one thing that he would be good at, that he would love to do, and then that would be freeing you up specifically to go get more people. So that's another thing that I would
Love
do.
that. That's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. That's what I needed to hear. So my next step is to write down all the various things and pieces and parts and ask him if there's anything in that list that he would be willing to partner with me on to do.
Perfect. Okay. You're awesome, Christine.
Hey, Tom, can I ask one? I know you can rattle this off really quick.
Okay.
Okay. Person that I have gotten to into the savvy life pretty much said not for her right now. And then like a few days ago on Facebook, she said that she's looking for work.
Yeah. The best people always say not now or no in the beginning, or they sometimes even give you a little bit of a challenge, like, oh, I'm not interested in those things.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, so be persistent. That's part of the follow-up part of it. And just go, hey girl, this thing's booming. I've never seen anything like it. Are you open to taking another look?
Perfect.
You might, sometimes it might not be good discernment to say, hey, I see you're looking for a job. Hey, you want to look at this thing again? No, just say, girl, this thing's booming, or guy, or Matt, or whatever the name, and just be really short and simple with, are you open to something new just happened with my company? Big. Are you open to taking a look? And I always come up with a reason why something's new.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And guys, if y'all would remember, just for the future, this Saturday calls are always generic for multiple companies. Just want to remind you guys that. Okay, who else? Okay, one more. That was so quick. I got 1 minute. Any quickies? All right.
Sorry, I have one real quick question. This is Carly.
Hey, Carly.
Hi. Okay, let's say somebody says no. How do you, like, obviously you want to keep the door open. What's a good thing to tell them to kind of keep that doorway open?
Well, it's not way open. It's a little open, but here's what I say, Carly. Great question. It's my favorite. Everybody should evolve in the future to using a good CRM, contact manager system. So I have a folder or a group or a tag, whatever you call it, called Not Now. Kim and I have, it's usually in the tens of thousands of people. But I always say to them, is it cool if I follow up with you from time to time? And I'll put them on a list, email, text, card list, and I will drip on them either it depends on if they're super high quality, like a 10 out of 10, I might personally text them often and just say, hey, we just got back from Puerto Vallarta on a company trip. I was just thinking about you while I was on the beach. And I would send it to them and say, hey, check this out. Let me know if the timing is right. Hey, by the way, we came up with a new promo for a company. I mean, I'm the biggest sucker. I literally have joined companies. I think it's your company, Carly, if you're the Carly I'm thinking about. Are you working with Jamie? Are you the Carly working with Jamie?
No, I'm Sherry.
Okay. So I literally know of a company that's going to a big company trip. And I'm thinking, I'm coaching, I was a keynote speaker for this company. And they got this crazy trip. And I'm thinking, man, maybe on the side, I can just go to this company trip, right? I can just, because I know I can win contests. I'm a sucker for contests. Like, so you never know what's going to get someone that told you no. So just keep throwing seeds out there over the next 10 years or 10 months or 10 days. So that's what I do. But I
Okay.
asked permission. I said, is it cool? No problem. Timing's everything. Is it cool if I follow up with you from time to time? And then I put them in a follow-up list on a slower drip.
Okay.
And that's where you want to have discernment, not to go like the next day. Hey, you ready? No,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
might be next month. Put them on like a next month, and every once in a while you're following up with them.
Okay. Thanks.
You betcha. All right, I'm having so much fun, but I want to get you guys in production mode. You guys have a blessed day. We've got some exciting things planned for a virtual summit that if you're a world changer, you'll have access to that. If you already have a ticket to one of our live events, you'll be able to come to our virtual summit included. And so check for announcements on that. It'll be every Saturday morning. It'll be replacing this, but it's going to be very packed content specifically that we do at our live seminars only. And it breaks down the whole life cycle of duplication. And I'm making this almost a mandatory process for at least our team members. And I would recommend it as a mandatory process for your team members, no matter what company you're in, because it really sets the full foundation. It'll be our virtual summit. And I will tell you by next week, you'll have information on how to register for that. Most of you are already registered if you're a world changer, but I'll give you info on how to register for that next week, okay? All right, Stony, oh my gosh, I see Stony here. Hey, if y'all could do me a favor, maybe put on your camera real quick, unless you're on the potty. You know, I never know what Stony's doing. But everybody else, can you put your camera on real quick if you want and just say goodbye and unmute? I'm going to unmute y'all real quick.
Bye, Tom.
See you guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Tom.
You bet. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, Jamie.
Bye, Tom.
Good to see you. I heard a dude. Who's the dude? You're busted. Sherry's on. Sherry and Dave.
Yes.
Tomasulo, you guys. Tomasulo's here, my sister.
I'm driving.
You're driving? You're driving in my car? Look at
Yeah.
you, you're a rock star. You're in my Tesla.
Have a good day.
I love driving that car. You sold me on a Tesla.
Yeah, let's get one. Miracle. Thank you so much for these calls.
We're gonna start a Tesla tribe. So what are you saying?
This girl's so pretty.
Are you gonna yell at me? Sony's texting me now because I called her out. All right, love you guys. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.